This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today we speak about why a UIM coverage requires that there be an accident with a motor vehicle if there is to be coverage, and why a UTV, at least in West Virginia, is not a motor vehicle as defined by a policy issued by Erie Insurance. The petitioners, Shaun and Jennifer Lopez and Keith and Melissa Chapman, appealed the order granting summary judgment. Petitioners contended that the circuit court erred in applying contractual terms from the insurance policy's general definitions section of a utility terrain vehicle, a UTV, to the uninsured and underinsured motorist endorsement, finding it did not fit the definition of motor vehicle. In Shaun and Jennifer Lopez et al. Versus Erie Insurance, the West Virginia Intermediate Court of Appeals on October 16, 2024, agreed that a UTV is not a motor vehicle as defined by Erie's policy. Petitioners are the parents of children who were injured in a motor vehicle crash during a Veterans Day parade held on November 2, 2019 in St. Albans, West Virginia. The children were passengers on a parade float constructed on a trailer that was being pulled behind a Ford F-150 pickup truck owned and operated by Greg Cox. The truck was insured by Erie. The crash occurred when a 2007 Yamaha UTV, owned and operated by John Kidd, unexpectedly accelerated and struck the ramp on the trailer, which subsequently collapsed. Mr. Kidd's UTV drove up on the back of the trailer, striking 5 children who were riding on the trailer. The state of West Virginia classified the UTV and indicated it was not registered through the West Virginia Division of Motor Vehicles, with the registration status identified as no registration required. Petitioners made a claim for uninsured, underinsured motorist benefits under Mr. Cox's Erie policy on October 22, 2020, and the Erie policy includes UIM bodily injury limits of $100,000 per person and $300 per accident. Erie denied coverage for the petitioner's UIM claims, finding that Mr. Kidd's UTV did not qualify as a motor vehicle as defined under the Erie policy. Erie filed a motion for summary judgment, and the circuit court ruled in Erie's favor. The policy defined motor vehicle in capital letters in bold print surrounded by quotation marks as any vehicle that is self-propelled and is required to be registered under the laws of the state in which you reside at the time the policy is issued. The primary issue in this case, therefore, was whether under the Erie policy that UTV met the general definition of motor vehicle. Each exclusion category in the policy is predicated upon the subject of the exclusion being a motor vehicle, which is written in quotations and bolded. Each and every exclusion for underinsured motor vehicle begins with an explicit reference to a, quote, motor vehicle, close quote, which is modified in some way. The court needed to determine whether the UTV, therefore, is a motor vehicle under the Erie policy. Now, the Erie policy's general policy definition of motor vehicle is defined as, quote, any vehicle that is self-propelled and is required to be registered under the laws of the state. It is well settled that contracts should be read as a whole. To be considered an underinsured motor vehicle pursuant to the UIM endorsement, a vehicle must first be considered a motor vehicle under the Erie policy's general definition section. Coverage as an uninsured motor vehicle can only apply to the UTV if it is a motor vehicle as defined by the general definition section of the Erie policy. However, it was undisputed that the UTV here does not meet the second prong of the Erie policy's motor vehicle definition, the legal requirement that the vehicle be registered. A claim for underinsured motorist coverage for injuries caused by an off-roading vehicle not subject to West Virginia's registration and licensing requirements. The UTV was not legally required to be registered and thus be insured, and was being driven on a road that was closed off to normal traffic. The denial of underinsured motorist coverage therefore does not conflict with the West Virginia Code. In my opinion, people often forget that insurance is a contract whose terms and conditions control the obligations of the insurer and its insureds. In this case, the accident was caused by a person operating a UTV, which was neither licensed nor registered in accordance with the laws of the state of West Virginia, and therefore did not fit the definition of motor vehicle, and therefore there was no coverage under the UIM provisions of the policy. This video was adapted from my blog, Zelma on Insurance, which is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zelma.com/blog. You can subscribe to the blog and you'll receive notice of every blog posting, usually 5, sometimes 6 a week. And you'll gain access to the more than 4,900 blog postings. You can also subscribe to these videos on rumble.com or on youtube.com. And if you do, I'd appreciate it if you click on the like button on YouTube and the thumbs up button on rumble.com. And if you're interested in further detail about insurance, insurance claims, insurance law, and insurance fraud, please consider for a very small fee subscribing to my Substack publication. And please also tell your friends and colleagues about this blog and the videos. They're free, and so they can also subscribe. Thank you for your attention.